Okay, this is for the men who, whenever a woman says that she doesn't need a man or that women just don't need men, your response is, well, men made everything. Men made that phone you're typing on. Men made the makeup that you wear. Men made this. Men made everything. You need men. You need men to do this. Those men. So if men made everything and you're patting yourself on the back for everything that men have made, why aren't you taking credit for the bad stuff? It's all good and dandy when you're talking about how a man made a phone and cups and makeup and cars and all that shit. It's all good when we're talking about that. But when we get to the dark side, all of a sudden you want to exclude yourself from that. You'll say that men made everything, because everything means good and bad. You'll say how men made everything, but when we're trying to hold men accountable for the bad things now, y'all don't exist there. So what's going on with that? Did men make everything or did they just make the good stuff?
So there's this viral video on TikTok right now, don't worry, I'll tag you guys in it, where a woman makes a sexual joke, something that's actually pretty common on this app, and a guy decides to go out of his way to send the post to her father. First of all, male Karen energy. Second of all, it actually reminded me of a double standard that's pretty prevalent on this app. Men are the only ones that are allowed to tell super fucked up hypersexual jokes while women get shamed and or exposed for it. Last month there was a whole ass trend. This is my kingdom come. This is my she shocks you with her $10 taser from Walmart. Blah, right, and it ends with them swinging on the camera. And if you said anything about it, you're getting ratioed. Oh, you're just being a fucking snowflake. Oh, you can't take a fucking joke? But here we go. Let any woman, especially a super attractive one, tell a joke about her sex life. All of a sudden now we need to worry about the moral fabric of the country. Now it's fatherless behavior. Now it's, oh, what would your parents think about this? This creator did not do what they did out of any sense of moral altruism. Let's not be ridiculous here. They did it because, like some guys on this app, they just can't handle the fact that women do things that will never involve them. This person claims that they're doing what needs to be done, but what needs to be done will never involve men because this person is most likely one of the boys. I don't know. I just think it's dumb.
When I say let the church say amen, I had to include that whole video because I was just taken aback. Boys and men will openly talk about their weird-ass sexual fantasies. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being open about your life in that way, but it'll be weird and unsolicited. The way that boys used to moan in the back of the classroom, the way that they can joke about vulgar things, the way that they are able to do things that they shame women for. Because when a woman does it, they think that someone in her life, like her father, has failed her. How do y'all think women look at y'all? When y'all do bullshit like that, do you think that we're impressed? No, we think that you're weird. But a lot of y'all don't care because you're not shooting for our validation. You're shooting for male validation. Because men are the main ones doing shit like that. When men sit on this app and joke about traumatizing women, joke about rape, joke about being pedophiles, where are y'all at? These same men that are now sending what these girls are posting on TikTok to their parents, where are y'all at when guys are doing these weird ass, vulgar ass, inappropriate ass things? It's like y'all all of a sudden disappear. See, an issue is a lot of y'all don't like thinking that a woman is doing to you what you do to women. You don't want women to joke and laugh and kiki about the same things y'all do. And to be honest, most women are not saying the things that a lot of y'all are saying. But even the little portion that they do say, y'all cannot handle it. And also, let's cut the shit with the boys will be boys. No, boys will be who you allow them to be. Men will be who you allow them to be. Stop trying to make it seem like the male species is naturally like this. Not only have they been pushed to be like this, but they've been allowed to be like this. Big difference.
What's the most painful thing you've ever been told?
Someone really close to me. I was telling them about something that I've achieved, I'm so proud of, and I was assuming they're going to be happy for me as well, but the thing they said to me struck me, and I'm never going to forget it. They said, you can go after the things that you want and achieve them, but your place is always going to be in the kitchen. You're always going to have to take care of your family. You're going to have to put your family and your husband first and be a housewife rather than, doing the thing that you love the most.
And if you don't mind, who told you that?
My father, yeah. It hurt. I love him so much. I love him to pieces, but they still have that mentality, especially with social media these days. They don't really understand it.
And what's your message to others, who've been told similar stuff?
To just brush it off. I know they're your family, but you should just brush it off and never be ashamed of the things that you want to do.
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days.
Men will complain when women say they hate men, but then in the same breath quite literally wish that women didn't have rights. 60.6 thousand people liked this video. And this is a big difference. Women disliking men is a response to trauma. It's a response to centuries of oppression and abuse. But men hating women, that's just misogyny and sexism. And it's posts like this that prove that even the most radical feminist will not dislike men as much as the average misogynistic man hates women.
Men, how do you feel if a woman does better than you at something? Are you more likely to sexualize that person? By the way, this is not some weird chest hair, just my daughter waking up from a nap. In one of the more interesting studies I came across in my PhD research, participants were asked to do some tests on a computer where they were paired up with a woman named Jessica. Except Jessica didn't exist, but they didn't know that. Half of the men were told that Jessica did better than them, the other half were told that they did better than Jessica. Here's where it gets interesting, because after they were told those results, they were then asked to select an avatar to represent Jessica. And if they were outperformed by the woman, they were more likely to select avatar here with less clothing. But it gets more complex than that, because that only happens some of the time. Generally, the men who were outperformed by Jessica had feelings of public discomfort afterwards. But only if that public discomfort then led to anger did they select avatars with less clothing. Whereas for the men who had public discomfort but it didn't lead to anger, they actually selected avatars with more clothing. So how would you interpret these results? The authors of the study believed that by selecting avatars with less clothing, it was a way for those men who felt threatened to gain back a sense of power.
I think I just stumbled upon a really great phrase for calling men out. So, you know, when you're on, like, especially the first few dates with a guy, and he says something misogynistic and gross, but, like, you don't know if this is a violent guy, and so you don't want to say something that upsets him because, of course, that's something, you're a girl, you're always having to be worried about that. But you want to call him out. So, I'm on this date. This guy, he interrupts me, and he's like, hold on. And I was like, did you mean to do that? And he just like backtracked. You should have seen it. He's like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to interrupt you like that. That was rude. And I was like, yeah. Okay, because what it's saying is like, that was stupid. I'm assuming that you're not stupid. I'm going to let you try again. And then it like stops them in their tracks, and they just like want to be like, oh my gosh, no, of course I'm not stupid.
Something tells me real women strongly dislike effeminate men. Let's bring back masculinity.
Oh my God, will y'all shut the fuck up? You want to talk about gender roles, homie? We finna talk about gender roles. Nobody's forcing men to be effeminate. Nobody's telling men to stop being masculine. The problem is a lot of y'all do not have a grasp on what masculinity means. But you sure love to defend the fuck out of some toxic masculinity, so let me explain the difference to you. Masculinity is being able to protect your family and those you love. Masculinity is being able to better your community and uphold other men and build them to better standards. Masculinity is respecting women and never objectifying them. Throughout history, men's lives have always been seen as more expendable than the women or the children because it was our job to protect and to provide, and a lot of y'all do not do that. But you over here mad because you see a guy in some skinnies and a pink wife beater. I'm gonna be honest with you, until the day where you stop seeing femininity as less than masculinity, you're a dick.
Have you ever wondered why misogynistic men will only stop pestering you once you've told them that you have a boyfriend? It's because they rather respect not upsetting another man than accepting the consent and a no from a woman.
You are because of men! You wouldn't be alive either if it wasn't for your pops! I know! My brother's here always! You gotta let him know! We the reason why you are who you are! No! We don't need no love! You dress to look good for us!
Brother. Here is a gender inequality campaigners' reaction to this video. I'm going to break it down because, wow.
Why the hell are you going to pay full price for a goddamn car that's been used? We're straight in here with a car analogy, so we're already comparing women to objects instead of people. No full humanity for them, they are objects. And often that can tell you that this man sees women as something he can control or he can own and have ownership over.
What women don't understand is men don't ask for much, okay? If I'm going to take you seriously...
That tiny comment shows you that the power dynamic here with him is that you need to prove something to him for him to take you seriously just because you're a woman.
As a girlfriend and or a wife, my only real request is that you don't embarrass me and fuck other guys.
Masculinity is clearly incredibly fragile because he's asking that all women do is not have sex with other men before him or have any sexual relationships with other men because it makes him feel bad. But he's allowed to do exactly that very thing.
Okay? But they have the fucking gall to sit here and say, yeah, it's a care.
Kelly's very insecure here because then he just goes straight into the insults that have been sent his way that he's insecure. That's clearly the reaction women have had to him and they're not particularly wrong.
No, you dumb I'm fucking insecure. I'm very secure in my goddamn confidence. I don't fucking wipe up no hoe.
Like slut-shaming the idea that women who have sex are lesser valued because women exist for men's consumption, and the idea that women have to be subservient to him, women have to be innocent, wives have to be innocent, all that.
All right? And I'm tired of women out here telling dudes, small dick energy, you're insecure, da, 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 da.
He's not talking about dudes here, he's talking about him. He hates being called that.
I'm not going to the Lamborghini dealership.
Women to objects again here, but now we're talking about Lamborghini, so you know that he's got money and he's a real cool guy.
With 300 bands to pay 200,000 for fucking pay.
He doesn't understand maths.
$300,000 for a Lambo with 200,000 miles on it, bro.
Lamborghini is devalued because it has so many miles on it. Women are devalued because they've had sex. He's so angry here, and it's actually quite scary. Like this is a violent man. This man is a walking red flag. He doesn't want a woman to have been touched before him because it makes him feel like a man.
We need to start holding these women accountable.
Holding these women accountable means literally controlling women's ability to make choices, live their lives, and have sexual interactions. This man is fucking terrifying.
You want to do that 6 feet tall, $100,000 a year?
Here you see him list all the things he thinks he has to be a man. This is like clear man box Tony Porter. This is the list of characteristics and attributes I have to be a man, and if I'm not that, I don't know who I am.
Gonna protect you in times of danger?
Gonna protect us from who? Men like you.
Take care of you.
Once being taken care of by a guy like this, it's almost as if the taken care part would be being used as leverage that he can use for something else. You know what I mean? Because he's always talking about what women owe him.
Be a leader, 6-figure abs, all this.
Actually quite sad because toxic masculinity has really got to this guy. He genuinely thinks that's what being a man is, not about him as a human.
But you can't even be a fucking decent woman and not be a slut.